Hello everyone and welcome to Game 4 of the Opera Euro Rapid of the match Magnus Carlsen versus Maxime Vachier Lagrave. This is the second match and Maxime is now leading, so Magnus now needs a win to win the match completely and go into the finals, or if Maxime draws or wins this one, then they go into the tie break. So let's see what happens here, as it's quite interesting and quite short. So Magnus with the white pieces again goes for d4. We have knight to f6, c4, we have g6, knight to c3, and d5. Again, we have the Gruenfeld defense. We have captures, and now again Magnus goes for the bishop to d2 line. We have bishop to g7, and now e4, striking in the center. We have knight back to b6. We already explained a few videos ago why knight captures on c3 is not all that favorable here. So knight to b6, and as now the pawn is attacked twice, you have to defend it. Bishop to e3. Now the pawn is defended twice. We have castles, and Magnus tries to get rid of this knight from b6, and he wants to push a5. So Maxime stops that, pushes a5 himself, and now h3. We have knight to c6 and knight to f3, and there is one game in the database where e5 was played, but that's not all that impressive, as white really does gain a lot of space with the d5. So instead, after knight to f3, we have knight to b4, and it is as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. So now Maxime moves the knight. He wants to play c6 and prevent white from pushing the central pawns. So bishop to e2, Magnus is now ready to castle, and c6 as planned. We have castles and bishop to e6 now. It looks kind of weird because this pawn is still on e7, but his real plan is bishop to c4 and then to trade off the light square bishops, and he will be left with two good knights and a very nice dark square bishop. So here, knight to g5 by Magnus, going after this bishop, and just bishop to c4 as planned. And here Magnus plays rook to c1. You don't want to trade here because you don't really gain anything by it. So rook to c1, and now there is a lot of pressure on this bishop, and the situation on the clock is 7 minutes for Magnus and 13 minutes for Maxime. So Maxime very comfortable in this position. It seems that today he's fully prepared for everything Magnus throws his way. So rook to c8, there's really no good way to exploit this. You can't really capture and then open up a discovery somewhere. So instead b3, pushing back the bishop, or rather bishop captures on e2, because you don't really have a good square to go to, and if, let's say, a6, then white just captures and doubles your pawn. So bishop captures, knight captures, now the d4 pawn is nicely defended, and knight to d7, now preparing to strike in the center, with moves like c5, maybe e5 is an idea later on. So Magnus goes for f4, and now h6, pushing back the knight. Knight to f3, and now e6. And here, although it seems like you can grab a lot of space with the g4, it could be a bit too risky. And Magnus, although he wants to attack, he also wants to be solid. So here, knight to e5. And now comes c5. Maxime played the c5 move pretty instantly. He wants to attack white's center and thus weaken it. So here we have knight captures on d7. Also possible was knight to c4, and the knight has some excellent squares here, putting pressure on a5 and so on. And if knight to f6 now, just e5, and it's a very interesting position for white. But by playing c5, Maxime in fact gave Magnus a pawn, so Magnus just grabs it. Knight captures, queen captures, and then now comes d captures on c5. And now the pawn is grabbed, and Maxime just blockades the pawn and makes room for this room to enter the game. And now Maxime sacrificed the pawn, but he will get a lot of activity for it. Magnus goes e5, grabs more space here, and now rook f to d8. As planned, the queen is under attack, and now comes knight to d4. And this is already quite a tricky move, because bishop to d4 is the way to go here. Bishop to d4, and then you have nothing to worry about. The bishop is nicely defended, all of this is defended, and if queen e4 or something like that, you can even play rook to c4, and everything holds. However, Magnus, after rook f to d8, played knight to d4, attacking Maxime's queen, and now Maxime just played queen e4, attacking Magnus's bishop here. And now Magnus wanted to play queen to d2 to defend the bishop and continue the game, and then the game might continue in various ways, something like bishop here going after the pawn or something like that. But Magnus grabbed the queen with the mouse, of course, as these are online games, and played queen to d3. And as soon as Magnus played this, he also resigned the game, because this is now a free queen, and now the knight can just capture it. So it was in this position on move 24 that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, and now they have to go into tie breaks, and Maxime is the winner of the second match. So this is something that happens quite often in online chess. There's no way to prevent this. I know you guys gave a lot of suggestions on how to counter these, to give confirmations or something like that, but none of that works, because in time trouble, if both players have a few seconds on the clock, there's no time to play move and then confirm move and then so on. So it's something that players will have to get used to, and I don't know. For the moment, it seems that we're stuck with the mouse slips, and it will be a standard part of modern chess. But Magnus wasn't all that angry with this. Usually when Magnus loses a game or something, he's going to be very angry. He might even throw something. But here, he just smiled and he thought it was funny. Because, he didn't expect to actually win this game, because now his position is worse, even without blundering the queen. He will take his chances in the tie breaks. So we'll see what happens. Queen to d3, quite a move, and of course he resigned here. So yeah, very exciting stuff. Careful with the queen if you're playing with the mouse. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and by the looks of Magnus, he also enjoyed it, as he did not mind blundering this queen. He really had a good laugh about it. We'll see what happens in the tiebreaks. I would like to thank No Deathman, Louis Burkhardt, David Kimura, Harry Lewin, and Stephen Hunt for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this very nice tournament, probably with the tiebreaks, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.